Hello folks, it's Candace from Beacon Hill Books. I think I've skipped a week. I don't think it's been two, but I've been pretty slow going on the reading front. I do have two books to talk about, and one I really wanted to do a video on Father's Day, because just ironically, it happened to be the perfect Father's Day book. And it all began with Sean from On the Stoop, and I read Achilles for the Achilles readathon that Jessica Read Things had done, and we really liked it. We read it together, and it kind of has gotten us in this little Greek rabbit hole. And Sean saw this book called An Odyssey, A Father, a Son, and Epic, about Homer's Odyssey. And we didn't even know at the time that Steve Donahue was going to be doing the Odyssey read-along, and unfortunately we missed it. But this book, I don't know how to compare, because like I said, I haven't read the actual poem, but it was a great book. First of all, I felt like it explained the poem very well. Mendelsohn was a journalist, I believe, but he taught a class, and so he writes the book in a sort of, he mentioned some kind of a term about a ring. So he talks about what he spoke about at class, but kind of compares it and explains the journey in Homer with the journey of him and his father. And his father, who is just one of those fathers that interjects himself into his people's lives, because he's just, an extroverted guy who's very curious to learn. He never really wants to sit still. He kind of reminds me of my own father. Decides to join Daniel's class. He had always been intrigued about the classics, but he never really fully finished, his degree in classics. He went in math instead. Anyways, it was such an enjoyable book. I felt like I was in the class with them learning. I cared so much about Daniel, and Jay is his dad's name. And it really made Sean and I think about our particular fathers. I think it's a universal story of, your dad and even maybe his dad. But it was just a great book. I highly recommend it if you're at all interested in Greek story. Hello, I am re-recording the second part of my video. A technician came to our house when I was taping, and then when I picked up and taped again, my video was on its side. So where I left off was that, so besides the whole storyline of, Jay and Daniel being in class together and talking about their past, they also take a cruise to visit the 10 stops that Odysseus does on his way home. So it was also cool to follow that and have sort of three storylines going. It's just a really great book, and totally unexpected for me, at least, because I was kind of just given the recommendation by Sean. I hadn't looked into it. I think it did win a prize maybe from NPR. But if you like memoirs, or you want to learn a little bit about Greek history or the Homer's poem, and are intimidated by reading the book, I recommend this as well. And just know that you will be getting so much more out of it in terms of a narrative of fathers. The second book that I just finished today is The Idiot by Elif Batuman, I believe. This book is about 450 pages, and of course it's been a very polarized book on BookTube, but I wanted to read it because it took place in Harvard, which is in Boston, and it sucked me in from the beginning. So the length of the book with the other books I was juggling, I didn't finish it, and my library hold had expired on it, and so when I got it back I just finished. And honestly, I wish that the middle part had sort of been trimmed down a bunch. If that's the case, I do think more people would have liked this book. You have the same sense of humor as the author, and kind of like a coming-of-age story-ish. I mean, she doesn't fully come to age, but it's kind of her thoughts and experiences. This girl named Celine, she is a student, a freshman at Harvard, and basically falls in love with this guy named Ivan, and he recommends she teach overseas in the summer, and it brought a lot of nostalgia back for me. And the long chapters, because she does break them up sort of by her time and experiences. Yeah, I just wish it would have been a little bit shorter, but I think the author has a lot to share, and I'm curious of her next book if it's going to be written the same, with the same sense of humor or not. And I definitely will keep my eye out for her, because I think there is something to be said there. Current reads, mostly we are continuing on our Greek journey. We are halfway through Circe, and I'm really enjoying Circe. I really didn't know much about Circe, besides what I learned from Mendelsohn's book. So quite enjoying that, as well as I have a few NetGalleys going, which I'll talk about more in another video. I'm really going to try and concentrate on Circe. And the next book in our Greekathon, as I could say, is hoping to be Penelopiad by Margaret Atwood. Alright, I hope you guys have a great weekend. I'll talk to you later. Bye.